Good evening, guys, and welcome to round 3 of the Rookie Racing Championship. We've got the Spanish Grand Prix this evening at the circuit of Catalonia. It should be a good race, and it'll be interesting to see how everybody gets on. I've got 10 people watching the stream already. If you could just give me a comment in the chat, guys, that'll be great, just to make sure you can hear me nice and clearly. It'll be absolutely fantastic. So, going into qualifying to start off with. Just wait for everybody to load in. And we will be shortly underway. Not too many drivers tonight. I think we've got 14 drivers tonight off the top of my head. Yes, we are. Got a couple of guys filling in as reserves tonight. I think Luke, Callum, and just trying to see who else is on the list. Fua Blitz are filling in as reserves. Like I say, it should be a good qualifying session. On board with Van Carlson in the McLaren as he exits the pit lane. Out he comes with the two Hasses of Justin and Cohen in front, followed by the Mercedes of Declan. And again, Declan I think is another one filling in tonight off the top of my head. We've got an 18-minute single qualifying session to see if these guys who is going to be on pole position and who is going to be at the back. Fam coming for the S's. Still a couple of guys sat in the pits. Callum, Felix and Fua Blitz not exited the pit lane as of yet, as Van Carlson in the McLaren, as we went on board with him, just almost dropped it. He may have dropped it now. I think he has. He's just about gathered it up, and I think that's his first attempt over. So in that case, we'll have a look at Declan. In the Mercedes, starting his flying lap. DRS flap open. It'll be interesting to see how everyone gets on tonight. Catalonia, it's a tough track, to say the least. We know the cars with the Mercedes engines like it round here, with its flowing corners and difficult braking zones. As Declan's about to start, but midway through his lap, we'll get some telemetry up. Sector 2, 50.8 to that point. Van Carlson, who we just saw on the outlap, had spun round. He's gone back to the pit lane. Felix is still to depart the pits. Out the last corner. Justin goes fastest so far of 1:17.4. Declan splits in behind him with a 1:18.4. Justin leading the way in the Haas so far. Meanwhile, other laps come in. Luke in the Racing Point slots down to P4. Pleased in the Ferrari goes up to P3. Mercedes was on pole until Cohen went in faster and there's a tenth quicker than him. And Fabio in the Williams slots in with a 17.1. So not bad lap times to start out with. We'll have a look at Callum, who's just on his first flying lap. He's got a bit of traffic of I think it's Pleased and Justin by the looks of things. Right on board with Callum. You can see Justin just going through the chicane there. Out the last corner. Where does that put Callum? It puts Callum P8 to a 1:19.2. Not a bad lap to begin with. Looks like he may be going for a back-to-back flyer. Comes through. He's 2 temps down on his previous time, so I don't think he's going to improve. Pleased is in the pits. He's completed his first run. Oh no, there's been a bit of a cock up there at Ferrari. We're trying to get both drivers into the pit lane. That's going to cost Pleased some time by the time he comes back out this race. The minute Felix in the Alfa Romeo is still to depart the pits, and speaking of which, he does it now, so out comes Felix. So far had a very dominant performance in Austria. In fact, the two Alfa Romeos had a dominant performance, to say the least. And it'll be interesting to see how they get on today. So far, Crispy Chicken in the other Alpha, who's covering tonight, has done a 1:19.5, so a little bit off the pace. Callum in the Williams goes a little bit quicker, 1:19 exactly. Well, meanwhile, his teammate Fabio in the other Williams has done a 1:17.1, so and believes he can't go any faster because he's just boxed. However, Cohen in the Haas is on a 1:16.4, which is a very respectable time, to say the least. See where that puts him come the end of qualifying. Eckland's currently on an out lap. Callum isn't, he's currently on a flyer. Or was, and it's clearly not fast enough because he's just dived through the pit lane. So Fam, meanwhile, we saw him spin off earlier in the McLaren, sorry. It comes across the line, ooh, half a tenth slower than his previous time. Like to me he's going to be doing a back-to-back flyer at the pace he's going. Stick with him to see how he gets on. He's done a 1:17.8 so far, which is good enough for P8. He's pulled off to the side of the road. Meanwhile, Crispy Chicken in the Alpha has done a 1:17.2 to get him up into P4, which is quite good. Felix still to set a lap in the other dominant Alpha. Meanwhile, he's actually on one. Goes wide out the last corner, catches the gravel, coming out the chicane, just about gathers it up, crosses the line, still goes fastest. I mean, I don't know how he's managed that after making that mistake. 1:16.078 from Felix. He's done well there, considering he went wide out the last corner. Probably could have been even faster, to be honest. I think he's doing a back-to-back flyer, just over half a tenth quicker. One of the Haas getting out of the way. A little bit of a wobble there from Felix. That could have gone badly wrong. And DJ Guitar in the Ferrari has just popped up saying he has retired from the session. Wondering if that's something mechanical or he's had a big off somewhere. And Felix is now half a tenth down on his previous time. Further blitz in the Alpha Tower has just retired as well. See what Felix can do. Can he improve in this last sector? You would think he would be able to, considering he went wide out the last corner. That's surely going to be a better lap, you would think. Didn't clip it this time, and it is much better. 1:15.7 for Felix. First guy into the 1:15s. Cohen quite a fair bit off the pace, just about 6 or 7 tenths off the pace is Cohen at the minute. Well, we'll go and have a look at Justin as he comes around the last corner. Goes P4 with a 1:16.7. So that's it's a very respectable lap time. It looks like he's going for a back-to-back flyer though. He's a little bit wide coming out the corner. Pretty much identical first sectors. That could have gone badly wrong, touching the grass there. He managed to gather it up. And I think it might have cost him some time actually, because it looks like he's backed out of it to me, so bit of a shame. Fabio's on his flying lap. His second run with just over 7 minutes to go. In the Williams, it'll be interesting to see what he can do. Across the line he comes, 1:16. Oh, he was slower by a millisecond. It was Fabio. A bit unlucky. Potentially looked like he did have a bit of a wobble out the last corner. Meanwhile, we'll go and have a look at Cohen, see how he's getting on. 2 tenths up in the first sector, I've just seen on my screen. So you'd think it's going to be a pretty good lap if you can go a little bit quicker. He won't be far away from Felix. 3 tenths up in the second sector, so he is gaining time. A little bit of a wobble over the curb. There's a Williams up there. I think it's Callum. It is. Kindly gets out of the way through the chicane. Out he comes, Cohen. Across the line, 1:15.7. He is into the 1:15s, and he's not far off Felix, just over a couple of thousandths of a second behind Felix. Good lap from Cohen. Is he going for a back-to-back flyer? I think he is. See how he gets on. 2 guys into the 1:15s now though, so a little bit of a wobble out there. We'll see what the T2 time's going to be. He's still pushing it, so you'd think there's more time out there. He's actually 7 tenths down, believe it or not, in the second sector, so it's not going to be an improvement for Cohen, sorry. So just in there, but the 2 Hasses putting in a respectable performance so far, and Cohen gets it badly wrong there. That's straight line the chicane and back to the pit lane. See, that was going to happen at some point or another. Meanwhile, Crispy Chicken is just on 1:16.5, puts in P3. So the Alphas performing well again. The 2 of them, should I say. Felix had a good race last time out at Austria. And the pace of the Alphas seemed to be good because it's a respectable. Because Crispy Chicken coming in as a reserve driver, he's just hopped straight in and he's got used to that thing pretty quickly. Well, that's respectable to say the least. 4 thousandths of a second slower is Versailles at the minute in the Red Bull, who's just headed for the pit lane. We'll have a look at Bossy in the Renault. He hasn't had any airtime yet, so see how he's getting on. P9 at the minute, not far off Luke Shearman in the Racing Point. Sheehan, sorry. Pronunciation is absolutely trash. See how Bossy gets on. Middle sector lap time, 3 tenths up, so this could be a good lap for him if he can keep it together. At the minute, that would jump him ahead of Luke. Over the curb, maybe a bit too much curb there. I think he's just about gathered it up. Just about, may have cost him a little bit of time. And he does go 2 tenths faster and jumps Luke in the Racing Point. Bossy moves up to P8 in the Renault. We'll have a look back at Luke, see how he's getting on. Going down the back straight, time wise 2.5 seconds down on his best lap, so a little bit off the pace. Callum jumps to P11 in the Williams and almost bins it coming out of coming through the middle sector. Yellow flag's waving. I think he'll go again on the next lap, I think, after that one. Have a look at Fabio in the other Williams, who's just gone past Callum. He was on a flyer so far. Fabio's 8 thousandths of a second down on his best lap, so it'll be interesting to see if he can do anything. We've seen him lose a bit of time in the last sector so far, so we'll see if he can do it a bit cleaner this time. Looks very smooth actually. Out the last corner. Onto the straight, and he did gain a lot of time in the last sector. 1:16.3 jumps him ahead of Crispy. Crispy in the Alpha drops down to P4. Seems like Fabio with that Williams just been suffering a little bit of understeer in the last sector. Go back and have a look at Declan in the Mercedes, who's just about setting himself up for a lap. You know, you'd think the Mercedes on paper would be up there, but not so far. Luke has retired from the session. It is right at the end of the session though, so it doesn't really matter. Clearly feels like he can't improve. Oh, he's parked in a very dangerous position there though. We just saw that out the last corner on Declan's. That's affecting the racing line, surely, you would think. Stewards might take a look at that one later on, as Declan, one of the Alphas, has just gone off in the background. I'm not sure who that was. Well, let's see if Declan can improve on his current lap time. You would think with Mercedes power he could. Through the middle sector, we'll see the split time very shortly. And he's 6 thousandths of a second up on his previous time. Not by a lot, but maybe found a lot of drivers so far making up time in the last sector, which involves this horrible chicane. I think he's probably got that one bang on actually. Across the line, jumps to P12. Nice driving, Declan. Jumps up the order on his last lap. Always very respectable. Crispy in the Alpha. I think he's miles down on his time. It's going to be a 1:37 for him to end the session. Shame for him, but he's still P5. Not a bad result come the race. So, qualifying wise, believe it or not, Cohen has got a 5-place grid penalty. I've just seen at the top of the screen. So Felix qualifies on pole, Cohen 2nd, Versailles 3rd, Fabio 4th, Crispy 5th, Justin 6th, Please 7th, Bossy 8th, Luke 9th, Fam 10th, Callum 11th, Declan 12th, Fura in the AlphaTauri 13th, and DJ Guitar in the Ferrari 14th. But that could be very interesting, the fact that Cohen has got a 5-place grid penalty. I'm assuming that's for pit lane infringements. That'll be the only description to why he's gained that penalty. As we just saw in the picture there, the corner that's being reprofiled for next season, the upcoming 2021 season, being reprofiled to go around that massive loop again next season, which will make it interesting to say the least. I think Pleased might have just lagged out because he's just rejoined the server, so as we're about to get going. The game has loaded in and we are onto a formation lap, and that's interesting strategy wise. So you can either do mediums to hards if you've qualified on the medium tyre, or go soft, or go medium soft mediums, or go soft medium mediums. So it'll be interesting because I think majority of the drivers anyway have actually qualified on the soft tyre. Yes, they have, apart from Callum, who for some reason is starting on the hard tyre, although he was actually outside the top 10, so he got the free tyre choice. Felix somehow did a 1:15 on mediums, not sure how, but it's a bit unexplainable that. Cohen did get into the 1:15s, but because of his grid penalty, he is down in P7, so it'll be interesting to see how this race goes. 33 lap race. And in theory, you would think the Alphas would be all over this one, showing the early pace. See the field making their way through. Some reason, oh, Felix has binned it on the formation lap, and he's been disqualified. So Felix has been disqualified on the formation lap. That's very interesting to say the least. I'm not sure how he's managed that one. I'm assuming it'll get them in the race. It normally just resets them to grid. Yes, it has. So we've had a few little knocks, but the grid comes to form up. Should be interesting. Versailles is off the racing line. Be interesting to see as we go to 5 red lights. Who's going to get away? There's a couple of jump starters. Lights out, the way we go. A couple of jump starters to say the least. DJ Guitar, Fua, Declan and Fam have all got drive-through penalties. Bit of pushing going on. Felix has dropped down the order as they go through turn 1. A little bit of contact. Who's that off in the background? one of the AlphaTauris, I think it's Führer. There's been an accident at the back of the field. A little bit of contact, but I think they've all made it through pretty cleanly. Felix sends it a little bit deep. Crispy's teammate goes past him. Declan has had a brilliant start in the Mercedes, has gone from P12 to P8. Great driving. So after all that, Versace in the Red Bull leads the way, followed by Fabio, followed by Fam, then Crispy, Felix, Justin, Pleased, Declan, Guitar, Callum, Bossy, who's just moved up to P11, overtaking Luke, followed by Luke, Fewer, and then Cohen at the back. So something's happened with Cohen at the start because he was P7, he's dropped 7 positions. This is a nice little battle developing here. Fam in P3, who will have to serve a drive-through, and I think he's just died for his drive-through now. And the pit strategies have changed again. Pirelli saying it is going to be a 2-stop race regardless. All the guys making their positions. Crispy and Felix side by side. And I think Crispy's got the move done. He has. Felix is going to come back at him though. Here comes Felix around the outside. Lakes breaks late, almost touches the grass. Crispy's in P3, this all over the final podium position already. And meanwhile, talking of recoveries, Mr. Callum Crayston is in P6. Would you believe it? Knowing Callum too well, even though he's a reserve driver, I know him from a few other leagues, and he's not normally this high up the order. We'll be loving life at the minute as we got a Ferrari round. So that moves Callum to P5. I think it's Pleased that has gone round. It is. He's got back going. Looks like DJ Guitars had a moment before there as well. Callum in P5 in the Williams. We'll be chasing down Felix pretty quickly. Crispy has now had a chance to stretch his legs a little bit. Fabio just a little bit further up the road in the Williams, and then Versace a bit further up the road in the Red Bull again. But Callum, he was saying if you were doing mediums to hards or hards to mediums, you could make it a one-stop race. I'm just thinking that's what Callum has decided to go with, considering he started P11, so he was on the free tyre choice. This could play into his hands, to be fair, because the others are on softs and mediums, although you could do mediums to hards, but it'll be a gamble. But Versace, Fabio and Crispy, you would think would have to do a 2-stop race, so, well, according to the strategy anyway, whether they will do that, we don't know yet, so. Well, Callum could score some very good points for Williams this season in round 3. Meanwhile, Felix has once again caught onto the back of Crispy. Comes down the main straight. He's going to try and send it up the inside into T1. Gets the move done. Turning into a nice little battle this. Fabio just a Williams there, just up the road, not too far away. And I think that is going to be Felix's next target as he's on the rear of the Williams. However, fighting this Williams is going to leave him vulnerable to Crispy behind. So the Williams locks up a little bit. Fabio is going to fight that Williams so much. Alpha and Williams scoring quite decent points as constructors wise so far. If it all stays as it is, and everyone's got DRS apart from Versace down there. We've got a yellow as Crispy tries to send it round the outside. We had a yellow in sector 3, and that's it there. Fabio's gone round. He's made contact with Felix. I think he's just about kept hold of it. Yep, he's gathered it up. he was struggling with front end grip there because he just drifted, or understeer should I say, because he's just drifted very wide. His teammate, meanwhile, Callum, about 5 seconds up down the road. Maybe coming under attack from Justin and Bossy here. Midway through this race, I think Versaity's had a moment. Oh, him and Felix are battling. This is for the race lead. Versaity just about holds on. Felix is going to brake late. This is great racing between these two. Felix is still there. A little bit touching. Versaity eventually gives way. We know what Felix is capable of in that Alpha. And he's showing it again today. Now you'd think this is going to leave Versaity all vulnerable as he goes wide. Crispy with DRS. So did Versaity, so he just managed about to hold on. Versaity goes a little bit wide. Is Crispy going to try and send it at some point to try and get the Alphas 1 and 2? So at the minute, Versaity is stuck in an Alpha sandwich. We've got a yellow in Sector 2. I think somebody's just gone slightly off the track. Versaity skips the chicane a little bit. Yellow now in Sector 3. Not sure who that is so far. Bossy is in the pits. Coming in for an early pit stop. So I'm assuming he will be going on to medium tyres or going on to a new set of softs. It is the mediums. And he's also going to be changing a front wing as well. So clearly a couple of little issues with that Renault. He's clearly got front wing damage from somewhere. Off he goes, leaves the pit lane. Quite a quick stop there, considering he had to change his front wing. As the Versaity Crispy battle still intensifies. Crispy's going to try and send one down the outside. Versaity covers it off. And then Crispy's got a better exit. He's going to go around the outside. That's a great move. Great move from Crispy there. Up into second place. P1 and 2 for the Alphas. And currently, it's not a bad result for Williams so far either, because they're P4 and 5. However, Justin and the Haas, in fact Justin's actually pitted, so I was going to say that Justin was catching on to Callum. As Versaity's had... Oh, Versaity's gone into the pits. I was just thinking why he dropped so far down the order. So Versaity's in the pits. Justin is coming in for his stop. Is this going to be a quick one? Onto medium tyres. Again, that'll be doing the 2-stop then. Justin's on his way. Just moves Callum up into P4 after all that. So it's Alpha 1 and 2, Williams 3 and 4. There's a slow Alpha, I think that's Fewart, who's a lapped car, gets out the way of Callum there. Good driving. See him driving nice lightly. We'll go have a look at some of the back markers, who's battling away. Cohen is making a recovery after having an incident on the first lap, I assume, because he dropped down to P14 by the end of the first lap, making a recovery drive. He's currently battling with Luke. Luke in the racing point, covering off quite nicely. Cohen's looking to make a move. There's a yellow in Sector 3 again. Cohen got DRS. A bit too far back to make a move. We know there's pace in that Haas though. That's for sure. I think there's been a bit of an accident. Oh no, there hasn't. Fabia and Police are just in the pits. They dropped down quite a fair way down the order. So that puts Callum in the podium positions, believe it or not. So Fabio's done his stop. Them two have gone on to medium, so I'm assuming they're going to be doing a 2-stop as well. Now can Callum make them hards last? Because if he can make them hards last for about more than half the race, he can go on to mediums and do the one stop. So, very interesting to see. Meanwhile, Cohen has dispatched Luke and is now chasing down Bossy in the Renault. Got a yellow in sector 1. Sure who that is. Soon find out as Cohen almost drops it coming out the hairpin. Oh, that's interesting. So Crispy is in the pits and Callum's about to get past him, so that's going to move Callum up into P2. There he is, goes past. Crispy also onto a set of mediums. So again, all I could assume with it being so early, he is trying to do a two-stop race. For Satiety, however, after going under, there's a virtual safety car being brought out. Fewer in the Alpha Tauri is out of the race. Meanwhile, so that has cost Crispy dear there, because if he pitted a little bit later on, he would have pitted on the virtual safety car. So that's a shame for him. So Callum is loving life in P2. How many cars are going to make a pit stop this lap? Not many is the answer. I think everybody stayed out. So you can't really pit as it is. Declan's got a penalty for speeding under VSC. And Fam has also got a penalty for speeding under VSC as well. So them two, I believe it's 5 seconds, that 5 or 10 seconds. So the Fam's in the pit lane. It might be a drive-through, actually, thinking about it. Yeah, it is. There's no mechanics out. It is a drive-through penalty. Fam has DNF'd. He's retired from the race, actually, since he was coming into the pit lane. So Cohen has now caught onto the back of Pleased. As Cohen drops it, loses the back end, almost careers into Luke there, just about catches it and gathers it up. I've never seen a Formula 1 car drift like that before. Got a yellow. Declan's had a big moment. Virtual safety car is deployed. Declan has had a crash on the main straight, I think. Or in the first corner somewhere. VSC is out though, again. I'm just trying to see where he's had the off, actually. I think he's had it off in turn 2. I can't get a camera view of Declan. Meanwhile, Justin has got a drive-through penalty for speeding under VSC on the restart. We go green again. Callum is loving life in P2, which he very rarely is. Very rarely up there, to be fair. Doing a good drive so far. If he can make them hards, like I say, if he can make them hards last, he is in a very good position come the end of this race. So Declan is out the race. I'm assuming he has had an off, because no wonder it's brought out VSC. Meanwhile, Justin is in the pit lane. He's coming in for his drive-through penalty. He's going to lose a handful of a lot of places, to be honest. Oh, that's interesting. That's why I couldn't see it. I've just had somebody comment saying Declan had crashed in the pit lane, just on the pit lane entry, and his tyre came off, so that put him out the race. Meanwhile, Cohen and Luke are having a scrap over P8. You'd think Cohen needs to dispatch these two pretty quickly if he wants to get back in this race. not far between each other. Meanwhile, I've got a yellow in sector 2 and 3. Pleased has had a moment. We just missed that on camera. I think he potentially might have spun it. So that's Cohen through into P8 where he needed to be. Luke's P7 now, and Justin inherits P9. So that shakes the order up a little bit. Meanwhile, the Crispy and Versailles battle rambles on. And Crispy is the faster car in this situation, you would think. Versailles is racing quite hard. At the minute, Versailles still going quite quickly. You would think he's going to do quite well in this race, in theory. At the same time, Crispy has got DRS, but at the same time, Versailles is catching up to Callum. There's the battle in the background, just off the corner of Callum's screen. You'd think Callum needs to split the gap a little bit, make a slightly bigger gap, give himself a bit more breathing room. Safety goes a little bit wide there. So we're just going to take a quick break, guys, from the commentary. The stream will still be on. Just bear with us a second and we'll be back in a couple of minutes. Meanwhile, enjoy this battle between Versailles and Crispy. So welcome back, guys, to the Rookie Racing Championship round 3 here at the Spanish GP. An interesting development. Callum has made his pit stop, but has come out in P9, which is a real shame, and he clearly just couldn't make them hard tyres last. He's now onto a set of softs, so I'm assuming he's going to be on a 2-stop as well, so it's a shame for him. He potentially could have done it, just didn't quite have the legs, I'm afraid, to be able to get to the end of the race on a set of mediums, and he's pitted lap 15, so he just didn't quite manage halfway through. It was a gamble, to say the least. And while Luke is making his pit stop, so Callum will gain a position from that and inherit P8. I'm assuming for Luke this will be his final pit stop. And I guess he would be going on to... He's going on to a set of softs. That's interesting. I think he might have... Has he had a stop yet, though? So he's done 2 stops and he's gone to a set of softs. That's very interesting to say the least. So out he comes. He'll be doing another stop. See, Luke's going to be doing a 3-stop race now, which is a bit bizarre, but not sure how he's managed to get to that position. So Callum inherits P8. Cohen is making his way up the order again. He's dispatched Justin a couple of laps ago, and he's now onto the back of Bossy in the Renault. Cohen's dropped it, goes through the gravel. You'd think he's going to concede the position to his teammate. Just about gets going again. That almost went very wrong though. And Justin's going to have DRS down the straight. He's going to make a move to the inside. You would think you would get past him before the corner. Yep, nice move. Justin up to P6. Capitalised on his teammate's mistake. Bossy, meanwhile, has been given a chance to stretch his legs a little bit and try and increase the gap while them two are battling. And Bossy is on slightly fresher tyres than the two behind him, so like an interesting race. Felix has made a pit stop and has gone to a set of hard tyres, so interesting. I guess he'll be going on to the end of the race on them tyres, I would assume. His teammate Crispy on a set of mediums. Been 7 laps on them, so Crispy will have one more stop to go. So would Versailles, you'd think. Fabio potentially could go to the end of the race on them hards, but it'll be a push. Still fair bit. I still can't get my head around why Callum's gone on to softs, because you would think he would he's potentially going to lose out here, you would think, position wise. Meanwhile, Cohen has just got past Justin again. The two Hasses jostling for position. Nice and smooth so far. There's been a bit of an off in someone. Oh, that's Bossy. Bossy's had an off ahead of them. I did see some gravel kick up. So Cohen goes through. Bossy goes a little bit wide. You'd think Justin's going to get past as well. I think he's going to be held up. It's going to cost Justin a lot of time here. Callum might inherit all this, being 3 seconds behind. There's Callum. Almost drops it coming out the corner. Touches the gravel. So Justin's lost out in all that. So Cohen's got past Bossy after Bossy making a mistake. You would assume an unforced error. Bossy has gone very aggressively over the curbs there. Down the main straight they go. Bossy has DRS and has got past Cohen into T1. Nice driving, nice little freeway battle developing here. Cohen's going to fight back. You'd think this is a risk, considering itself he's going to leave himself vulnerable for Justin if he does go for a move and get it wrong. Justin's there. Callum at the top of your screen there is not far behind these guys either, so if these guys keep battling, Callum is going to catch up to them very quickly. Callum's 3 seconds off the back of this battle. Going round the outside, a bit of a dive. Just about keeps it together though. As Cohen has a dive up the inside. Bossy has to go over the curbs. Cohen round the outside now, having a look. So it's a nice little battle. Justin's got a front row seat. Callum's got a second row seat. Cohen up the inside. A little bit of contact. Just about gets away with it though. They've all survived still. But look who's caught up to them. Mr. Callum Crayston has now joined the back of this queue. And is Callum going to try and capitalise? These guys are on a lot older tyres. Callum is on a fresh set of slicks. And is... Oh, just hit the back! Just tapped the back of Justin a little bit. I think he outbraked himself. Just about keeps it together. Justin, meanwhile, is having to try and attack Cohen and try and defend from Callum. And meanwhile, Bossy and Cohen have decided enough's enough, and they've dived for the pit lane. So Callum's going to have a go at Justin for 5th place. Callum has a look, thinks better of it. Feels like he's a bit too far back to make a move there. And Bossy and Cohen have pitted for a new set of mediums, so by now 12 laps to go. They should be there or thereabouts, in theory. Just in very long gears there. Callum still chases him down though. Meanwhile at the front, Felix is just running away with it. He's got a 10-second gap over his teammate Crispy. And Justin's now in the pit lane. So Justin has also decided enough's enough. But you would easily think that Callum is going to have to stop again, surely. At some point or another, Callum is going to have to make another pit stop, but you would think, with everyone else pitting around him, maybe the right time might be now. Luke is definitely going to have to make another pit stop because he's on a set of softs, so... Unless Callum can do some monumental tyre saving, I don't think he'll get them tyres to the end of the race. But meanwhile, he inherits P5. Fabio on a set of hards will be going to the end of the race, you would think. Although they are 12 laps old. He's got to do another 11 on them, so that'll be 23 laps. I think he'll have to pit again. Felix has just pitted 6 laps ago for a new set of hards, so he'll be going to the end of the race on them. Bossy, Cohen and Justin have all pitted for new mediums, so they'll be going to the end of the race on them now with 11 to go. Callum comes down the main straight. Callum stays there for now. Meanwhile, the 4-car train developing, which I've only just noticed. Luke, Bossy, Cohen, Justin. And if these lot keep scrapping, this could really play into Callum's hands. Bossy is desperate to try and get past Luke. You can tell there's some desperation as these two Hasses are just behind him. This 4-car train is here again. Just without Callum this time, instead with Luke. There's a Ferrari up the road, or I think it's DJ Guitar, I think. So, hopefully he'll get out of the way and not cause too much, as Cohen almost touches the back of Bossy there. Through the chicane they come. Lot of curb. Cohen gets a really bad exit. Luke's now decided enough's enough and has boxed. Cohen gets not a bad exit actually. They're not going to go 3 wide down this main straight, surely. Wouldn't think so. But look who's joined the back of the queue. Callum has pitted for a set of mediums, so he'll be going to the end of the race on them. And on fresh tyres. Slightly fresher tyres, should I say. And with these lot keep on battling in front, he's going to catch up to them very quickly and get them positions back, you would think. Meanwhile, developments at the front. Crispy is boxed for a new set of mediums. So Versailles inherits P2 for the time being, but I've got a funny feeling Versailles is going to have to stop again. Fabio's in the pits. And I guess this late in the race, you'd think he's probably going on to soft tyres. Softs or mediums. He's opted for the latter. On go to mediums and off he goes. And just about gets ahead of them. Meanwhile, Justin having a go at his teammate Cohen, gets DRS down the straight and slots past him very nicely. Bossy has made a mistake somewhere on the line because he's dropped behind these boys now. And into the clutches of Callum Crayston. Guy's going a bit wide. Driving on the limit in these cars. Callum goes a little bit deep there. Callum comes down the back straight. Wing flap open. Tries to send it around the outside of Bossy. There's 2 battles going on here. Justin and Cohen still scrapping about there. As Cohen has a dive up the inside. And I think he's got it done. Not quite. He has to cut the chicane a little bit, does Cohen, but then gets it done. And the 4-car train returns. Bossy was just out of DRS range, believe it or not, just in there. So Callum will have an assault, goes down the inside, and I think he gets the job done. He does, very good driving. Justin! Oh, Justin's crashed! It's a very big accident for Justin there. He's had a very big crash, and that has brought out the full course safety car. Justin has had a very big accident. There's debris on the exit of turn 2. I'm not sure what actually caused that. Looking for the replay camera, I think Cohen was just defending quite hard and forced Justin quite wide. But that is going to bunch up the field right to the end of this race. Cohen's dropped down to P6 in all of that. I think he did get involved. Callum's up to P5 again. Bossy still remains P7, but Cohen has lost out in all that. Crispy's 40 seconds behind. You would think it would. The safety car is going to pick up the race leader and let them go past, and they'll have to bunch up as quickly as they can. This is not what Felix wanted, you would think. As he's been on them tyres from lap 16. He's going to box though. He's going to box on the safety car. Probably a wise choice. Now I'm assuming this late in the race, 3 laps to go, well, there'll be about 4 laps to go by the time we get restarted. He'll be going on to a set of softs, which he is. The red wall tyres are there. Justin is actually out of the race. Cohen has retired. Callum has retired from the race. I'm not sure what's going on there, but something bad has happened there, because Cohen and Justin were in the race. See when they come past. Cohen, he's just passed them there. I think they've pulled off at the side of the road, actually. At the exit of turn 3. And see anything. There, he's just gone. Yeah, they're parked on the exit of turn 3 by the looks of things, because that's where everyone's getting the positions. There's only 8 cars left in this race. Oh, the safety car. So Callum and Cohen, we believe, I've just been informed by Callum that they have had a crash with the safety car, which is interesting to say the least. Not sure how that one's happened. So, see when this race gets restarted. What goes on? Cars coming through. A couple of back markers still to catch up just a little bit. As wait to go racing again. I think it'll be a couple more times round. And Felix on a fresh set of softs will be able to go to the end now on them tyres. So you would think, in theory, he has got an advantage over Crispy Chicken, because Crispy is on a set of mediums, and his tyres are older, so that's going to make him a lot slower. We've just had confirmation from race control that the safety car's coming in. Yep, there we go, lights are off the safety car. Felix backs up the pack and will go whenever he pleases. As long as we don't have a Magello, then we should be okay for the restart. Gets ready to go. He's gone now. He's gone out the last chicane. The safety car's in. Gets a pretty good restart, does Felix. We go green again. Luke in the racing point behind him is a lap down. He's currently P6, so a bit of time for him to get back in. Luke kindly gets out the way of Crispy Chicken, who's battling for the race lead. And meanwhile, Bossy is on the back of Fabio. The 2 Ferraris there ghosting due to the fact that there has been an incident. Well, they're a lap down, shall we say. They had an incident near the start of the race. Bossy's half a second behind here. We'll get DRS in a lap or two time when the stewards deem it safe enough to come back. And we're going to see what happens. I don't know why these Ferraris are trying to unlap themselves here. It's quite near the end of the race. Is it really necessary? Well, probably not in the grand scheme of things, but trying to unlap themselves either way, I think it's a risky move, to be honest. This is the closest battle on track at the minute between Bossy and Fabio for P4. Got a lot of people watching the stream tonight. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us. Got just short of 70 people watching the stream over both YouTube and Twitch, so thank you very much for joining us. And I've seen a lot of you have been commenting, hence the pings in the top right hand corner, so thank you all for that. And DRS is enabled this time. Why are these Ferraris trying to unlap themselves? I think that's Please that's trying to unlap himself. Probably not really necessary in the grand scheme of things. Meanwhile, Mercedes is in clean air. Fabio's in clean air. Bossy isn't, who's trying to chase down Fabio, but the Ferraris of Pleased and DJ are trying to unlap themselves in the process. Which didn't help them really, considering the safety car came out. On the back section, Bossy just a little bit out of DRS range there on the car in front. Bossy would think it's just within a second, I think, when he crossed the line. No DRS again. And nobody's managed to get DRS there, which is a bit strange. And the Ferraris continue to ghost and try and unlap themselves. A bit sus to say the least. At 32 out of 33. I'm going to have to go back and look at Felix again because he's had a brilliant race, start to finish. So is Crispy Chicken, the reserve driver tonight. These alphas are quick this season. Really, really driving well. And Felix, oh, Felix has dropped it! Felix has spun coming around the top section. Now how far's Crispy back? Not far away is the answer. Felix locked up into the chicane, getting back going. I was just going to say he's driven a spotless race, but that's closed the gap a little bit. And one more mistake like that, that could be costly. So Felix onto the final lap of the race. 5.4 behind currently is Crispy, his teammate. As Felix keeps on locking up into every single corner, he's trying to push as hard as he can. Locks up again. braking as late as he can. He's going to flat spot them tyres if he's not careful. Like I say, apart from that little mistake, he's driven a spotless race, to say the least. He's really driven well today, as Felix. It's always nice to see when you're driving well. Felix again is going to extend the championship lead for Alfa Romeo and also become the current championship leader. Round the final corner, Felix wins the Spanish Grand Prix, takes first place. Brilliant drive from him. Crispy Chicken comes home to take P2. Versailles comes home to take P3 in the Red Bull. Great drive from him. Fabio comes 4th, Bossy comes 5th, Luke comes 6th, Pleased and DJ comes 7th and 8th. And good driving from the guys. Somehow DJ Guitar got driver of the day, not sure how, being a lap down, but it happens that way sometimes. So there's the podium all sorted. It's actually Versailles has been handed a grid a time penalty at the end of the race, so he's dropped down. So the Williams car instead has actually got on the podium. But what a race that was. Great drive from Felix. Thank you very much for joining us, guys. Really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.